The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, seeks a robust partnership with the Ministry of Defense to float diaspora security platform that will strengthen collation of digitally collected data of serving military personnel abroad. Watch the details as NIDCOM's boss, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, meets with Defense Minister Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi. And to increase foreign direct investment profile, NIDCOM's boss pays a strategic visit to the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council and sends representatives to the Directorate for Technical Cooperation in Africa's workshop. And we've also got our Suicide Note segment. Stay close to your favorite show, The Diaspora, and I am Koinsala Adetumbi. Now watch as I bring you the conversation between NIDCOM's boss and Defense Minister. Take a listen.
What we really, as you suggested, about urban security in diaspora, I think it's a welcome idea. We will look at it and see how we can cooperate and see it to push it, like we sit down and get it done. Otherwise, it's a welcome idea and we encourage it. And I wish you more cooperation with the Ministry of Affairs and other ministries where you are relevant, and we fully support all the way we can.
In our interaction with Nigerians abroad, we have several Nigerians that are in the defense security portfolios in different parts of the world and actually excelling. And they've been saying to us, we want to work with our country, we want to see what we can do, we want to make our contributions. I'll start with the big one before I go to the smaller ones. And the big one is that they've come together to say, why don't we have a diaspora conference on security with Nigeria? And they've actually designed something in that regard. And the idea of the conference is not just going to be a talk shop, it's going to be a big platform for the ministry and the service chiefs to be able to showcase achievements. Like I was discussing with one of them, one of the most striking things for us during the last Armed Forces Members Day was that little clip on our military that have been lost over the years. Nobody seems to remember that people die in these wars, and that is not spoken about enough. So they've come together to propose this diaspora security conference that will achieve some objective, a platform for the security agencies to tell their stories and showcase their successes. And also to build trust in the diaspora community on government's commitment to national security, and it will be a platform for the diaspora to engage with our security team. And I believe a very strong platform to, showcase everything that has been done. And we already have, like I said, Nigerians in the UK, in the US, in other parts of the world that have already excelled in various arms of the military abroad, and they're willing to just give their own quota. It's important that we have data of some of our military on postings abroad. If INEC has written to us, and I think they've written to you, just to have the data so that when things like that happen, or even information. And another thing we have seen, which we don't talk about enough, everywhere Nigerian military go to on postings, they excel. They come back as simply the best. In fact, they don't want them to leave. So whether it's police, whether it's the armed forces, they come back fully excelling. So again, this is an area that I believe that once we have that information, we can always help in letting people know the value and all that. And another thing we have seen, which we don't talk about enough, everywhere Nigerian military go to on postings, they excel. They come back as simply the best. In fact, they don't want them to leave. So whether it's police, whether it's the armed forces, they come back fully excelling. So again, this is an area that I believe that once we have that information, we can always help in letting people know the value and all that. And we hope that we can just play our little part with Nigerians in the diaspora, and also with our support from the ministry in terms of bringing back some stranded Nigerians, particularly. I remember that just contacting the ministry some time ago, we were able to bring back stranded girls from Mali. So from close by areas here like Mali and other places, if we continue to get that support, we can rescue stranded Nigerian girls in particular, particularly in neighboring countries. So thank you, Honourable Minister, for receiving us, and we look forward to a purposeful engagement, and we look forward to being able to working with the ministry.
Many thanks for the partnership. The NIPC boss, Ms. Yewande Sadiku, and NIDCOM's boss, Honorable Abike Dabire Erewa, are passionate about opening up Nigeria for more investment opportunities, especially foreign direct investment, FDI. Enjoy the conversation.
We are interested, of course, in the e-costing now that we know it's there. And I think we want more digital. So we're fine with having been on the online investors platform when it is ready. So we'll be working with you there. I think that's easier for us. Because people make inquiries online, they want to know this and that. So if it's easier to say, even if you can link that site to our website, we direct them there. Because information is power, it's very important. And yes, the study of DFI, yes, we know of that study, but we've been talking to them that they need another study in 2019. Because there's more diaspora engagement now than in 2017. And we're working with the DFID and World Bank of that area. But what we are planning to do in terms of investment is that with the Diaspora Investment Trust Fund that can encourage Nigerians to specifically say, okay, just like I said, imagine 1 million Nigerians putting $1,000. That's a lot of money. And they can channel what they want to do with the investment. So that's part of what we are doing in terms of these remittances are not for investment, but they'll be able to save the economy. And that's how we also separate economic, like you said, they are more of an economic force, but we hope they'll be an investment force. And that's why we're setting up the Diaspora Investment Trust Fund. And the Diaspora Investment Summit has actually showed, that's why we're saying that we hope we can pass that information to you. A lot of them are going into agriculture, healthcare, education, and ICT business. So we continue to track that. And hopefully the diaspora will be both an economic and investment force. It's about reaching out to them and working with them. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working more with you. We are going to be launching an app, a NIDCOM app, where Nigerians abroad can download at any point in time and have all this information. We'll upgrade the app as time goes on.
We get information from the National Bureau of Statistics. We get information from CBN. CBN from the fact that every bank in Nigeria, when investors bring in money for investment in foreign currency converted to Naira, they're required by law to be issued a certificate of capital importation. So CBN tracks through that. CBN also has a number of tools that they use in the engagement with banks, as does NBS, which is the official collector of statistics in Nigeria. So all the information that we get on investments, we simply take data from them and interpret, analyze, to make it easier for people to get information from what is simply data. Because data is one thing, information and insight, is another. EOSIC initiative, with a single window investors portal that we're working on, we'll be happy to, accommodate NIDCOM there. But what is more important is for you to let diaspora Nigerians know that there is actually an EOSIC. So if they have inquiries that OSIC can help to resolve, I think that one is even of greater value. It may also be useful to let them know that Nigeria has an online investors guide. I find, again, not many people are aware that this exists. It's a website that has information on how do you start a business, how does land work in Nigeria, how do taxes work, what are labor laws, what are the investment prospects of the states. That information is available on the NIPC website. It was something that we worked on with a handful of partners. It's called the iGuide.
Success is assured when two passionate women meet. The Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa, DTCA, held a workshop recently. It focused on leveraging diaspora FDI for national development. NIDCOM Secretary Engineer Dr. Sule Yakubu Bassi was there.
I wish to express my appreciation for the opportunity to be part of this workshop with the theme Diaspora Foreign Direct Investment and Immeasurable Resources for Nigeria's Development, and to commend the organizers, the Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa, for putting this workshop at this auspicious time when the federal government of Nigeria, through the Central Bank of Nigeria, is formulating policies that will enable the country leverage on Nigerian diaspora foreign direct investment for national development. The establishment of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission is also one of the reasons to showcase the interest of this administration in seeking the cooperation and continuous engagement of Nigerians in diaspora in its effort to reposition the Nigerian economy, especially under the aegis of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the Nigerian government.
Well, it's been in the news for quite a while now, the amount of remittances that have been coming into Nigeria. The question most people have been asking is, where is this money? Why are we not seeing it? Why is Nigeria not developing? And we are now beginning to understand that there are some investment strategies that the federal government is putting in place. But these strategies, there's a need to harmonize them and to create a synergy between them to ensure that they begin to impact the economy meaningfully. We do not want a situation where a lot of the money that comes in goes to consumptive waste, but we're able to address issues of development and invest in those areas to create wealth for the investors, the diaspora investors, as well as for the country, to ensure that the country begins to come out of its malaise. COVID-19 has been a terrible time for most nations, and Nigeria is no exception. Now, if we find that, if we have a situation where we have good diaspora investors, people who are very, very adept at investments in other places, in the countries they stay in, they are making investments, they are making good return on their investments. Why can't they do that in Nigeria? What can we do to make it work out? How do we ensure that we are able to effectively harness these investments that are coming in and make them work to the good of the country? That is the essence of what we're here to talk about.
Remittances by Nigerians abroad back home are very important, and it is time to direct them into sectors of the economy where they will benefit both Nigerians and those Nigerians who are abroad and invest.
Now let's hear from Boy Alinko.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures. Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging, Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or even end up in prison.
If you must travel, travel legitimately. And now a bit of evacuation reports. About 1,071 returnees from Saudi Arabia have been repatriated within the week. Leading the intergovernmental agencies to receive the returnees, Ambassador Bolaji Akinremi, Director, Consular and Legal Department in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said 255 and 398 returnees arrived Nigeria on Monday and Tuesday, respectively.
However, each government is making arrangements to move them from time to time. So there is no government that moves all the citizens at the same time from Saudi. As you know, Saudi is a religious center. Many nations go there. So it's not only Nigeria that are overstayed. A lot of people went for Umrah, they overstayed. And so a lot of them were domestic workers, and their visa expired. A lot of them were stranded because of COVID-19. And by the time, there was lockdown, so we had to evacuate them. So I think you understand now that they're a mixture. Now, we continue negotiating with all countries. And for Saudi, we have made recommendations to them that they should consider regularizing the stay of these Nigerians. But you see, it is not up to Saudi alone. These Nigerians also must be willing to stay. A lot of the people that you are seeing are those that are clamoring to come back. So even though the King of Saudi was ready to consider our proposal, many Nigerians wanted to return. And that is why you can see that we have now taken up this again after 2 months. We keep receiving messages from our mission in Jeddah and in Riyadh of Nigerians when we visited them in their deportation camp, saying they want to come back. Of course, they were told the plans and that the Saudi Arabian authority were amenable to some of our proposals. We were asking them to consider them for job opportunity renewal of their work permit, and they were really amenable. But you know, when you have stayed long outside, you feel like going back. And there are Nigerians that were born there that have never seen or been in Nigeria. They also wanted to come back. So that is why you see this one coming up again.
January 2021, we were able to profile 1,250 Nigerians that returned from Saudi Arabia. In March, from Libya, we profiled 117. And right now, with the recent people coming back, we've been able to profile 537, and they've all been captured. So this helps the government to be able to plan towards any future intervention, to ensure that these people are being able to reintegrate into society properly and they are properly rehabilitated. So our role is very crucial in enacting.
Thanks to the federal government for promptly evacuating the stranded Nigerians. To our own Mama Trishan, Dr. Lulu, with suicide notes.
20 seconds. That's how long I've been standing here silent. And according to WHO's predictions for the year 2020, in that time, someone somewhere has died by suicide. And the next person might be your child. In 2017, the WHO declared adolescent suicide a global public health crisis. In the year 2020, the American Academy of Pediatrics declared youth suicide a national and a global public health crisis. In the next 12 minutes, we're going to discuss youth suicide and try to understand why our kids kill themselves. And I'll teach you 3 things you can do to help curb that pandemic, no pun intended. But let me first state that this talk might trigger some strong emotions in some of us. That said, people ask me all the time, why did I become a pediatrician? And I say it's simple. I love kids. Then I had kids. And between their boyish shenanigans and sibling rivalry, I realized that I can't protect my kids from childhood trauma, especially numero tres over there. Like their parents' divorce, or the effect of the domestic abuse their mother endured, or from who I am as a result of my own childhood trauma. You see, you can't see by looking at me, but when I was 9 years old, I was lured into a cornfield by a friendly adult neighbor. I remember him pushing me onto the ground and laying on top of me. I can still feel the grass and the leaves scratching my skin, the smell of raw corn, the taste and grittiness of sand in my mouth and between my teeth as I tried to scream, but no sound came out. You know, I never really talk about that. Most people don't know about that. Like most adults, I'm largely silent about the traumas that I've endured. Like the near-daily bullying in elementary school on the bus, or racial profiling in America, or my rape in medical school. But one cold November morning in 2015, I swear all the ghosts of my trauma's past were chasing me down a highway in San Antonio, Texas. I was going at over 85 miles an hour My thoughts and my heart were racing just as fast. I had no seatbelt on. The rooftop of my convertible was down. I was trying to go see God. I was looking for an opening. Anyone here ever heard about ACEs or adverse childhood experiences, or AKA childhood trauma? If you haven't, let me explain. In 1995, the Center for Disease Control and Kaiser Permanente studied 17,000 adults for 2 years. They were looking for the effect of physical, sexual, emotional, and other traumas sustained during childhood. And their studies showed that, indeed, childhood trauma does cause significant medical conditions, including mental health challenges and suicide in some, in later adult life. But what about a child that's currently undergoing trauma? What happens to them? What's the first thing you think about when you hear about a suicide? Mental illness? Depression? The obvious low-hanging fruit. While depression certainly increases the rate of suicide, in children, we must examine the underlying causes of said depressive behavior. Because as far as I know, no child was born sad and depressed and trying to kill themselves. Something happened. In the past few years, in the United States at least, prescription-strength antidepressant use has nearly quadrupled. And in that time frame, suicide rates have continued to soar. How do we reconcile that? And so my argument is that mental anguish and not mental illness is at the crux of most suicides. And in children, trauma is the epicenter. In the form of bullying and child abuse and domestic violence and racism and police brutality and toxic relationships, none of which prescription-strength medications can fix. You know, when I started working with at-risk youth, I realized that kids that kill themselves are not really simply depressed. Oh, no. Amongst other things, they have been betrayed by systems that allow other kids to bully them and adults to prey on them like I was. Betrayed by parents and caregivers who, for the most part, miss the signs, which, by the way, 4 out of 5 teens who attempt suicide leave a sign. And a prior suicide attempt is the strongest risk factor for a suicide death. Did you know that suicide is second only to accidents as the leading cause of death for kids aged 10 through 34? Or that African American kids aged 5 through 12 are twice as likely as their white counterparts to die by suicide? Or that LGBTQ youth, particularly trans youth and indigenous youth across the globe, all have a high rate of suicide attempt? One word: trauma. Yes, self-loathing, low self-worth, and negative intrusive thoughts are the key features in the suicide notes of his victims. And so you ask Dr. Lulu, what's up with that? Why is it happening? I thought you'd never ask. You know? In the interest of time, we're going to look at one case, Miss Naika Venant. Because 2 years ago, when I was still a general pediatrician, I quit my job to examine exactly the answer to that question. And so Miss Naika is a 14-year-old female from Miami, Florida, who streamed her suicide live on Facebook only 3 weeks after, check this, another teen suicide for alleged sexual assault by a family member. Betrayal? Check.
Thank you for staying all through the program. We hope it's been worth your while. And in case you have anything to share with us, please do not hesitate to do so, as we expect feedback on our show. Remember, you can reach us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook at Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, on Twitter at NIDCOM_gov, on our Instagram page at NIDCOM_gov, on our YouTube page at NIDCOM_gov, and on our website at www.nidcom.gov.ng. You can also join us on DSTV at NTA Network on Friday at 10:30 a.m., on NTA International on Tuesday at 6 a.m. and 10:05 p.m., on NTA News 24 on Friday at 2:30 p.m., and on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. You can also join us on WAP TV on Thursdays at 9 a.m. and on WTV on Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 a.m. And you can join us on Ben TV London at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday. I remain your host, Koinsola Adetumbi. See you next time.